coming to you from the Edge Podcast Studios at South Mountain, Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome to the Edge Podcast with Mike G. Buckle up, Edge Nation. It's about to get real.
How did you get into the music business and all that? Because it fascinates me that, you know, first of all, that you're one of those people who has always been involved in radio or music or something somehow, and you're really fucking good at it, dude. It blows me away, man.
I appreciate it.
So I've been to a couple of your gigs, right,
Mm-hmm.
and got to just watch you. So the thing is that you're not somebody that gets up there and plays songs.
I want to entertain.
You're an entertainer.
Right.
You perform.
So I'm an average guitar player, average singer, but I come from the heart, you know? That's what I want to see when I go to a show. Like, I want to show, man, like, perform.
Give it to me real, baby. I don't want the fake
right.
shit. Right?
I mean, look, you can't tell me that Dylan was, you know, Whitney Houston.
No.
Right? But his music will live on forever because of his message, right?
Right,
And the way
right.
he gets across to people.
Yeah.
And so I think that somebody told me long ago when I first started playing was, dude, play loud and sing loud. Doesn't matter if you're any good, man. People are just going to dig the message.
Play loud and sing. That's a message for life.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen. That's a message for life. Play loud, right? Sing loud.
Mm-hmm.
Get it out there. So welcome to the Edge Podcast with Mike G.
Yeah, finally I made it to the big time.
All right.
It's awesome.
Love having you here, man. So I want to introduce you properly to all of our friends out in the Edge Nation. First of all, say hello to Ty Lusk. Ty is a real estate agent. He's also an entertainer extraordinaire. You can look him up at AZ Real Estate RockStars. He's also a good friend. We've known each other probably 6-7 years now.
At least.
And I found you in a dive.
Yeah, exactly. When the real estate gig wasn't going so well, I'm like, I better make some cash. So the old Uncle Bear's days, I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Met so many great people. To this day, we still
good
connect.
friends.
Exactly. I mean, that was the biggest blessing.
Well, one of the great things that I love about you is that, you know, you're just always so open. You're always like, you're available for people. You make sure that they're taken care of. So unknown fact, this is a very little known fact. The Edge Podcast Studios is where we are today because Ty was so gracious enough to take my phone call when I was living in San Antonio, Texas. And I told him I want to move back to Phoenix. And he said, great, man, send me what you need. And next thing you know, we got into this place down at South Mountain. And thank you for that.
My pleasure, man.
Great place, great location, right in my price range, and you know, an extra room for a podcast studio.
Yeah, who knew at the time, huh?
This is not what it looked like when you came through the first time.
Wow, I came into that. I'm like, that's a little different here. Big improvement. I like it.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Congrats.
Thank you. We've done a little bit of work on the place.
Yeah,
so
well done.
One of these days, we'll take everybody on a virtual tour of, you know, the locale.
Yeah.
And but that's not going to happen today. Today we're going to talk to Ty about what he's involved in, what you've been up to, how you got here. You know, that kind of thing. And also I want to talk to you about your music. So
cool.
Why don't we start with that? First of all, where are you from? Where were you born? Tell us the brief, you know, outline of where you all came from, and then how you ended up here and what you're doing now.
Totally. So, born and raised in Texas, actually. Was born in Fort Worth. My dad was a fish farmer. It was awesome. Like, we moved. It wasn't so awesome at the time, but we moved around the state of Texas from like small farm town to farm town.
Yeah, no doubt.
And we ended up for the last many years up north of Dallas, about an hour, a little town called Whitesboro, Texas. And population 3,681. And so I was Whitesboro Bearcat, man. I was born and raised there. But I tell you, I was always like a city kid growing up in the country.
Oh, wow.
So 2 days after high school graduation, hitched it out, not literally hitchhike, but yeah, somehow made it out to California. Went to college there for a while, got involved on the job board to become a mortgage professional, which really meant a telemarketer, calling like apartment complexes.
That's what that is? I never knew.
I didn't know. I wanted to be a businessman. I didn't know.
I was like, let's make some money,
Can
man.
I wear a tie to work?
You were asking, could I wear a tie to work?
Yeah. I thought that was important.
I love it, man. I want to wear flip-flops to work.
Right. I've learned better now.
Right.
Ties are rare. Yeah, man, but I was out in California for a while, living that up. I was in Orange County from about age 20 to 25, like not a better place to be, in my opinion, at that time of life. And then it just kind of got to the point where I was like, man, I want something a little different. I had a buddy who had some friends in Arizona. We came out to visit, played some golf, got in the sun. I was like, this is awesome, man.
Right?
So just picked up and moved.
Hold on. Arizona's terrible.
Hate it here.
It's awful. It's too hot. The girls are ugly.
I'm not leaving, man. I'm not leaving.
We're the best kept secret in America.
Yeah, it's true, man. Well, not anymore. It seems like everyone, for the real estate business, it's awesome because people keep coming. And I love it. We got job growth. And
we've got room.
Yeah.
You might as well just come on out.
Come on.
Why the hell not?
So, I've been out here, for 16 years now, and I love it, man. I absolutely love it. I mean, I grew up in Texas, right? So the summers are hot and humid. People talk about Arizona summers. I'm like, no, dude, I'll take an Arizona summer over a Texas summer.
Well, Dallas-Fort Worth is a big spread out, metropolis of a city. It's huge. And but it's also got lots to do. I mean, if you're an outdoorsman, perfect place. You're not far from something, either a big lake or some hills, not real mountains, but hills.
Yeah. And
lots of plains to go and, hunt wildlife or whatever it is that you like to do. And the hills are rolling too. So it's not like hilly here, but definitely a beautiful place to grow up.
Yeah, it really was. I didn't appreciate it quite as much as I should have, at the time. But my dad's is a fisheries biologist now, and he still raises fish and aquaponics and things like that. He's really into outdoorsmanship. So a lot of hunting, fishing. We grew up from Lake Texoma, about maybe 10, 15 minutes. We go out on the lake and boat and fish and ski.
And you still do that stuff? Do you still like to get out there and camp and all that?
I do.
It's perfect. Arizona is almost like the perfect place to move from Texas to get into that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
right?
You certainly have a lot of the advantages, from an outdoors perspective here in Arizona for sure.
We got to go shooting, man.
Yeah, you're into it?
Yes, totally.
I'm kind of scared of guns. Can you get me over that fear?
Yeah, absolutely.
Although,
if you've ever been shot at, that would be kind of hard. I don't think I want to reproduce that, but there's got to be ways.
Yeah. I shot my first boar when I was 10 with a 9mm rifle, right?
Oh my God.
So in Texas, we would do this, down in South Texas, we would go on this deer hunt. Yeah. Except I was 10. I could hardly hold it up, And all of a sudden he's like, ready, set, aim, go. I'm like, yeah, I got a pig. I mounted the javelina on my wall. I was so proud. Put a cowboy hat on it.
That's just cruel.
I thought it was awesome.
It is awesome, but it's still cruel. Oh man, that's funny. So you move into Arizona, and what gets you into how did you get into the real estate business? I mean, you're multifaceted. So sitting here across from you, I know a little bit about you, and I want you to know that I see you as someone who's more like a Renaissance man than just a real estate guy who's very outgoing and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things that you're into that I think are just so cool. Music is definitely one of them. So when you come out to Arizona, how did you get into the real estate industry?
Yeah, well, what happened was I got out of it when I came here. I was in mortgage lending in California, and just burned out, man. I was just over it. And so I was in a couple of startup businesses that failed miserably and just got my butt kicked.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting back into mortgages in 2003, something like that. And I had a buddy in San Diego, and he had a foreclosure business in Arizona. And at the time, 03, 04, foreclosures weren't a big part of what was going on.
Right.
But he's like, Ty, get your real estate license. It's a good buddy of mine, Eric Weicheld, out there. And so I did. And so he started feeding me these leads of people that wanted to buy foreclosure properties, which weren't prevalent at the time. And I just loved it, man. I was from the sales side of it, and I did both. So from 04 to 08, I was doing lending and real estate. And as we know, that was a huge boom. And I was like, this is awesome.
So much money.
I made a lot of mistakes.
Sure.
And, I was able to live a lifelong dream, which was I wanted to buy a brand new house and get brand new furniture and just, start I'd always dreamed of that.
The American dream,
and
absolutely.
Yeah, and a year later, it was about $120,000 upside down, and I was like, what the hell just happened? I'm like, oh my God.
The market pulled a fast one on you.
Yeah. So, man, let's talk about some ups and downs emotionally and financially, and it was pretty eye-opening.
The struggle is real, and I love the fact that you're not gonna sugarcoat that, because really, truly, a lot of people lost their homes. I did. I lost mine in the whole situation. Mine came about because of two things, right? I was upside down in my house, number one, and I had mortgaged the house up to the point where that was a mistake. I pulled $70,000 in a second out, and that was a mistake because I was trying to finance another business I was starting. And then my wife divorced me, and that helped with, to her credit, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. She divorced me, and it was probably the right thing to do. I wasn't the best person back then. But here's the thing. When I lost the house, I was just like everybody else going, what do I do? Because I was so upside down. And I was in one of those adjustable rate mortgages. Remember those?
The devil.
Yeah. So a lot of people got caught in that, and I was one of them.
I had a lot of feelings of guilt at times because I was providing those loans that were in high demand, and looking back on it now, I'm like, man, I don't know if that was the right thing to do. I mean, everyone wanted it, and there was a supply and a demand, and I was the provider of that. But you could kind of sense it was coming. Nobody knew when the bubble was going to hit and what was going to happen or the timing of that.
Were you aware of the bubble? I mean, were you aware that it was expanding so fast, right?
I knew. I'd seen a couple of corrections in the time I'd been in lending, and I just knew it was too crazy, man. It's like people are paying $80,000-$90,000 over appraised value. I'm like, what is going on here?
Right. I
don't think I really understood the magnitude of like the worldwide effect that this housing bust was going to create.
Yeah.
I certainly knew that we were destined to have some problems. I just didn't know how big it was going to be.
Man.
Hence, everything hits the fan, and then I'm working at Uncle Bear's, waiting tables and bartending. Like 4 nights a week, playing music gigs. Like I got to pay my mortgage. I need food. I need like some gas money. I need cash.
Exactly.
So I'm like, I just bit the bullet, man. I was like, whatever it takes. So
that's perfect. And so tell. When you were a kid, it wasn't easy growing up.
No.
Right? Because you have a condition and you had to deal with that.
Yep.
Can you talk, and I want to show a picture real quick of, and I hope I can do this right, man.
Yeah, so when I was born, I couldn't talk very good. I had this, what's called a cleft lip and a cleft palate. And essentially what that means is the roof of my mouth was, I was born, it was collapsed, and my lip was split in the front. They call that affectionately a hair lip because of rabbit, right? You've seen that. I had a couple of surgeries when I was young, went to, miles of speech therapy, and slowly but surely began to enunciate my words and communicate better. And so I didn't know any difference, though, man. My parents were so cool. My dad would call me hair lip when I was a kid. Like, I thought it was a word of affirmation.
It's just a cute little thing to say to a kid.
Oh, my little cuddly hair lip boy. I was like, that's great, Dad. So then I get to school, and the kid's like, oh, hair lip. I'm like, oh, yeah, you must talk to my dad. That's so cool. Thank you. I thought, total compliment. I'm like, cool. Never said it again. That was it. And
I love it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. But, it became a quest then, because it was like the odds were stacked against somebody with that kind of a birth defect, so to speak. But for me, it was like empowering. Man, I want to learn to speak well and communicate well, and that got me into impromptu speaking and debate in high school.
Oh, wow.
And singing and just like, I just wanted to overcome those odds.
And it really is just you're adapting to whatever it is that you got to deal with, right? So and that's the power in being someone who can actually overcome whatever challenges you showed up with. Like, you got onto the earth. Here I am. I'm Ty, and now But because your parents and your dad were so awesome, they were able to say, hey, listen, this is not a handicap or anything like that. This is just something you got to adapt to. Yeah. And you did it beautifully, man.
Thank you.
I actually posted some pictures just now, popped them up and showed a couple of pictures of you playing guitar on stage and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Here's this, and you even have a song.
Little hair lip boy, yeah. Mama and Daddy's little bundle of joy.
Will you perform that for us today?
I'd love to.
Oh man, that'd be great. That'd be great.
My mom was like so loving and cuddling, when I was young growing up, and it was like I just didn't know any different. Like, I felt like I was normal, Yeah. And then when I got old enough to realize that, hey, not everyone has, But look, let's be honest, we all are messed up in some way.
Yeah,
like,
I got a dot on my head. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this.
This is the wrong spot.
This is it right here. See it? See it? People ask me all the time, what happened? My mom dropped coffee on my forehead when I was a kid. It's all her fault. Should
have drank decaf.
I don't know. It's a birthmark.
Yeah. So honestly, man, we all have stuff to overcome, and I think there's two sides, right? So some people are just going to use that as a crutch, and they're never going to perform at a high level, and some are going to be like, nothing's going to get me down, and that's going to motivate me to get to a much higher way of life and way of thinking, really.
Well, how do you get to that point, though? Like, right? I know it's a decision. Obviously, it's a choice. But what brought you to that?
So I'm pretty humble beginnings. I was one of the 6 kids. It was like a mine, yours, and ours. Like Dad remarried, and she had some, a couple kids, and they went together. So it was like literally a deal where it was, we eat fish. Like my dad was like the Bubba Gump of fish, right? Like fried fish, we had like boiled fish, steamed catfish. So that was like a delicacy, in Texas. And
shout out to Dad.
Yeah, pops. So I was just like, man, I want to excel. I'm firstborn. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I've read a lot. Sometimes they're the people who want to set the pathway.
What does that matter? And like, how does that fit? Yeah.
So, I think having humble beginnings, and no matter what point we get in our life, it's always a remembrance of where we came from. And the fact is, dude, we're going to hit lows in our life. It's never like this, right? It's never, it's like, no, you know what I mean?
And
like,
it's never always smooth in that transition. Sometimes it's a stop and a start and a stop and a start, and you're bouncing all over the place.
So I equate the hard times we talked about, when the real estate market crashed, especially in Arizona, one of the worst hit areas of the nation. And it was like another of those humbling experiences, man, where it reminded me of when I would be happy with peanut butter and jelly sandwiches as a 10-year-old.
Right.
And I was like happy with a baked potato as a 30-year-old, you know what I mean? Or 35, whatever I was. So I think as we go through life, man, we continue to get humbled, and assuming that we keep that mentality of respect for where we are in the good times.
Yeah.
Daddy used to say, son, you can't do with unless you're done without.
He sounds like he's from Texas.
Yeah, I'm like,
you can't do
dude,
with.
You're right. You're right.
I love it, man. That's awesome. You can't do with if you can't do without.
Yeah, so let's appreciate what we've got, because not all of us have had it, and most of us will go through some down times.
Perfect segue into our next section, which is, what are you doing now? And what are some of the challenges that you're actually having to overcome at this point?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so right now my life is faceted. We have a great real estate team, the Real Estate RockStars. We work in Metro Phoenix, and then we have referral partners around the nation. So pretty much anybody that has real estate needs, buying or selling around the United States, we're able to assist and meet their goals. And real estate is awesome. I love it. And even with the ups and downs, I'm passionate about it, because it really is a way to meet people, understand what their needs are, what their challenges are, and then figure out solutions of how to accomplish those goals.
Oh, that's awesome.
And man, there's nothing better than taking a young person or young couple or somebody who's never bought a home before in some cases, and they don't know and where to start. And then you take point A and point B, and it's all procedural, essentially, to a point where we have systems, is what I mean by that.
Yeah.
But still handhold and nurture. And then the day that they get those keys and they're so ecstatic about, man, I just bought my first house. You're like, yes, you did. You deserve it. And congratulations. And thank you for letting us assist.
Yeah. And
those are the intrinsic values, man. And yet, real estate is just a vehicle, right? Whatever our careers are, hopefully we're passionate about that. Mm-hmm. Yet there's a bigger picture. So we talk a lot within Keller Williams about our big why. Like, why are we getting up every day and grinding and helping people and with real estate? Like, what's the point of that?
Right.
So for me, the point is I've got to figure out, I am finding out how to make a much larger impact with time and resources and talent. So what that equates to in my world is a lot of nonprofit work.
Oh, okay.
I love it, man. I'm so passionate about figuring out ways to help charities locally, statewide, and nationally.
Well, what's some of the charities that you're involved in?
So there are several. One right now, I'm on the board of directors for a nonprofit called the Care Fund. And the Care Fund is a local Arizona nonprofit, and we pay mortgage and rent payments for families that have critically ill children.
Is there a website?
There is, yeah, thecarefund.org.
Let's go to that.
And so it's really cool, man. I mean, there are these families. We work a lot with Phoenix Children's Hospital, and they're essentially what happens is, let's say a family has a child, and they've got maybe it's a birth defect, maybe it's a heart disorder, maybe it's we've seen so many instances where kids have been in the hospital for 2, 3, 4 weeks, 8 weeks. And that's a difficult choice as a parent, right? Like, do you go to work, or do you exhaust your paid time off? Do you exhaust your vacation time? And then how do you pay the bills?
Right.
not to mention you've got medical bills coming in, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you've got insurance, maybe you don't. Either way, it's expensive. And the number one priority is to be there for your child, like be by the bed in the hospital.
Absolutely.
So the last thing you want to worry about, man, is am I going to get my house foreclosed on? Is my landlord going to evict us?
Yeah.
So it started pretty much in the residential real estate world and now has expanded out over the last few years. And so the Care Fund now has helped about almost 250, 260 families. And we pay typically average about 3 to 4 months worth of rent or mortgage on behalf of those families. It's a very quick application process, 3 or 4 days to get approved.
And this is the website right here. I've got it up. Keep talking, but
yeah, we're doing some charity events coming up in March. We've got a celebrity poker tournament coming up.
Wow, cool.
In at Greyhawk up in Scottsdale.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, we're doing a kind of a Western Roundup, big theme with our friends over in Desert Dixie, a great local band. We're going to perform there coming up in late April. So it's cool, man. The other one that's really close to heart is the Tammy Dykstra Foundation.
Tammy Dykstra.
Yeah, and that's tammydfoundation.org. And that is a local Phoenix-based breast cancer foundation. And what's cool about the Tammy D Foundation, who's named after a friend of mine, Tammy, who passed away a few years ago, about 4 years ago now. Her family joined together to create a resource for women who are going through treatment. And we have volunteers who will make home-cooked meals, and then we have volunteers who will deliver those meals. We do gas cards. We have all-natural cleaning company that we use that will go in once or twice a month and clean the house for these ladies and the families, and just kind of day-to-day needs that people don't think about. People give to Komen or give to big research foundations, and we're able to use local donations and grants to be able to help women on a day-to-day basis here in the Phoenix area. So I'm really partial to that. We just did a big toy drive for Christmas for all the kids of those families, several of which were already told there was no Christmas coming. The resources aren't there. So man, it just warms my heart, man, to be able to do something bigger than any of us.
Yeah.
And
I'm like, that's a big part of it. I mean, as we get involved as a community with each other, those are the things that create miracles, right? It's not one guy doing it all alone. It's a group of people, and it doesn't even have to be a whole big group of people. A small tribe of 5 could make a difference in the world. And we all know that, right? Gandhi was one, Martin Luther King Jr., another. And a whole host of others, right, that we know about. So
yeah, I mean, what happens is you start a movement, right? You get like-minded people, and you spread the word. So what we've learned in nonprofit, or what I've learned in the nonprofit world in the last couple of years, is that, man, you made a great point. There's so much that 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of us can do. Yet, what we're able to do is expand the vision and the knowledge of what we're doing, and then that multiplies, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we have people, hey, what can I do to help? You know what we need, dude? We need 5 dozen cookies put in the bag so we can deliver gift baskets for Christmas. Can you do that? Yeah, man. Our family's happy to go bake one night.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Hey, can you take these 3 kids? They have a wish list. Here's what they want. Here are their sizes, their favorite colors. Can you just get some gifts for them? No problem. You got it. And then all of a sudden, we've got, thousands of dollars worth of gifts and presents and goodies and snacks, and we're out playing Santa Claus. These families who are just blown away. Like, what? Why do you even care? Like, no, we do care, man, and people do care. And
there's the human element to it.
It is. And that's the stuff that matters, man. It doesn't matter how many sales we make in real estate or what GCI, any of that. It doesn't matter, right? Yeah. What matters is what do we do with the resources that we're able to earn in our chosen field of expertise, right? In our career, in our business. That's awesome. I love to help people in real estate, and on a larger picture, the resources that provides allows us to make a much bigger impact.
Yeah. Well, I'm a capitalist, so when I say that, someone may get turned on.
Tell me more.
Tell me more. What else do you want to know about me? So I'm a capitalist. So I believe that capitalism works. I believe that capitalism works, and then what we can do is insert the piece called caring for others, which is a socialist idea. And there's a lot of socialism right now that I think people are afraid of. But if we were to just take what we have right now, our resources, and reallocate them in a way that makes a difference for everyone, I think we can elevate our society. And not to get off onto a political rant, but really, truly being responsible with the wealth that we have for the people that are in our lives, I think is the way to be. And so I'm deeply committed to having everybody that I know become multimillionaires, decamillionaires in our lifetime.
Yeah.
And
what's Bill Gates doing with his money?
He's giving it away.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, this guy gives away so much money. He and his wife, their foundation is quietly and secretly giving away billions of dollars to forward humanity.
Yep.
I mean, what would you do if you had the money?
Well, I think as we gain maturity and age, I talk to people who talk more about legacy, right? And I used to think legacy was like egotistical. Like, why do you care? Like, what do you want, a statue in your name? Like, what?
Was there a bust somewhere?
Exactly.
We're going to erect.
We're a school named after you.
We're going to erect a monument to you, right?
And what I learned or have been learning is that, man, it's not about the legacy of how people think we are great or whatever. It's more about what can we do that reaches well beyond our lifetime.
Yeah.
Right. And so from a foundational standpoint or a charitable standpoint, these kids don't choose to get sick and go in the hospital. The parents don't choose to leave work to, they're not playing hooky for fun.
Right.
Yeah. It's not a choice they have to be in that position. Yeah. Yet it's our choice to do something to better their life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's powerful. So I love the fact that you really are giving back. And we haven't even touched on what it is that you do, or your company. We've talked a little bit about what it is that you did as a mortgage banker and then also real estate agent. But here's what I want to do. I want to talk real quick about your company, AZ Real Estate RockStars. Yeah. Because you guys have a completely different feel. I mean, you're a lot of fun. First of all, you've been on TV, you've done like TV shows, or you've been involved in the making of some TV shows, and you've done music all over the place. And you're just this guy that's out in life having fun. And if you need to buy a house,
we can help with that.
We can help with that. So tell me about AZ Real Estate RockStars, and I'm going to pull up your website.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been in real estate now since about 2004 on the sales side, and I'm very passionate about real estate and about music. And then we had this idea about a year and a half ago. Well, how can we combine those worlds? Because there's 40,000 realtors in Greater Phoenix. So everyone knows 7 real estate agents, least, right? Yeah. Everybody.
Sure.
So what makes you different? How are you special? Why does somebody care? What's a value proposition?
Right.
And so we had this idea of coming up with a real estate rock stars. And it seems obvious, essentially, because I've had some opportunities to perform and play music at some, pretty decent venues around the nation. And real estate, people didn't know about the music on the real estate side and vice versa. When I was performing, they didn't really know about the real estate aspect of what we were doing. So we thought it would be a good way to combine. Yet the reality is the client is the rock star. I mean, if you're going to entrust us with your biggest, financial commitment, then you deserve the spotlight. It's not about us, man. Right. It really is about you and what your needs are. And you deserve to be the VIP and get that kind of treatment and be the rock star.
Absolutely.
So the music aspect is cool because, we'll come play your open house party, No, but honestly, man, what sets us apart?
We do weddings, bar mitzvahs.
Whatever you need. We'll be your housewarming. It's the idea is that our value proposition to real estate rock stars is that we build lifelong relationships through involvement in our neighborhoods, our communities, our schools, and nonprofits. We believe in being immersed in the community and giving back, and we're going to represent you in a way that's fiduciary to you, meaning that I've got your best interest in mind and nobody else's. Yeah. And what you share with me is confidential, and the advice that I give you, should you choose to follow it, will hopefully lead you down the right path. Yeah. Because in the end, what we care about is somebody coming away with an experience like they've never had in real estate, where they're like, man, I didn't even know that it could be that smooth or that enjoyable. I want them to be raving fans
Oh yeah,
of the
totally,
experience.
totally. I'm a raving fan.
Thank you.
So check this out. So I'm in San Antonio, Texas. I'm about to move back to Phoenix. My daughter's about to start college, and I'm like, I need to get back into Phoenix. And I had completed a contract out there doing a data center build. So I call Ty. So I call Ty and I say, hey man, I need help getting a place. And he's like, no problem. So tell me what you want. So we do all that. And then next thing I know, I start getting these emails with videos of him walking through houses, doing like a little podcast, showing me the homes, right? Like, cause he knew I was out of state. And all of it, like, I don't know how many places you went and checked out, but man, like completely generous and just being out there and you know, you did the legwork and you moved, like you really went out there and got it done. We finally found this place. And this was a godsend because I love the energy that comes off that mountain. I love the fact that we're in South Mountain. It's a gated community. It's a beautiful home. And thank you very much for that. But the experience turned me into a raving fan. Absolutely.
That is the goal.
Good.
Yeah, so, you know, and with music, incorporating that, so I didn't even start playing guitar till I was like 25.
Wow.
And I was really inspired by these people I would see who would just sit around in the backyard or by the fire and play guitar and sing. It was just so raw and real and like the bass line of music in general, right? And I was like, I'm going to do that. Like, I'm going to learn to do that. So interestingly enough, when I first moved to Arizona, you know, 99, I had this guitar I bought about a year prior in California. Had touched it a couple times a year, wasn't in tune, didn't know what I was doing. And took a couple lessons. And I'm like, what is it? And I'm like, well, these are the strings. And
these are strings.
Literally.
They go in a certain order.
Yeah. I had a buddy of mine that played a little guitar, and he would, okay, here are the 3 chords. G, C, D. Learn those chords, and you'll know 1,000 songs. So I would just be I didn't know anybody. I was brand new to Arizona. I would just sit in my room and just practice those. And, you know, I've been writing some poetry and journaling and some short stories and things like that as a creative outlet at the time, and decided that, man, let me learn kind of how to put a song together musically on the guitar. And then I would start adding in some lyrics that I had already written or jot down ideas, or I'd be, you know, and so that led to, I learned about these like open mics or open jams around town. And at first I would just go listen, and I was just still blown away. Same thing, you know, guys up there with the acoustic guitars playing, singing. I'm like, God, this is so cool.
What an outlet.
I got to do it. So I probably had no business performing live at the time. Like, I was not good at all. But what the great thing about playing live is you can't quit
right
in the middle of the song.
I'm sorry, this didn't work out.
Yeah,
I've got to go.
Take two.
I'm really embarrassed.
Hold your applause.
I'm going to edit this.
Yeah.
All the stuff I get to do.
Man, you know, so it was trial by fire, essentially, as they say, where I would just go out and I'd play 1 or 2 songs, and I would get, the more I did it, the more pumped up I was about performing and learning new songs and writing songs.
So enough foreplay, man. Let's get to it. Yeah. Take off your headphones, grab your guitar. But by the way, folks, so Ty has his guitar today, and you ready? All right, here we go.
So we talked about the song "Little Hairlip Boy," right?
Yes.
Maybe do that one. That's kind of a fun one.
Great song.
Because like we all have issues, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I started my life just a little disgraced, popped out with a hole in my face. I was deformed, kinda out of the norm. The doctor told my mama things would be just fine. My daddy said he's ugly, but I love him, he's mine. And I was breathing, my heart was beating, 'cause I was born a hair-lip boy, mama and daddy's little bundle of joy. And well, my nose is crooked as hell. I was born a hair-lip boy, just a hair-lip boy. kids laughed at me, they point and shout. Someday they'd understand, I had no doubt they couldn't get me down. I never wore no frown. I learned to speak well. Now you could never tell that I was born a hairy boy. My mama and daddy said a bundle of joy and nothing well. My nose is crooked as hell. I was born a hairy boy. Just a hairy boy. You can do anything.
Thank you, man. That was awesome. That was really awesome, dude. And so, like, what had you write that song, man?
Man, I was, I think that that was like maybe the second song I ever wrote, and I was sitting there one day and I was thinking about overcoming this whole idea of playing music and writing songs, and I was like, man, I never should have been here, man. Honestly, like the odds said that I would never be a singer-songwriter. No way. But look, our will is more powerful than where we came from.
You can do whatever you want.
Anything, right? Anything. So I remember writing that song in probably about 2000, something like that. And I just started jotting some keywords. Sometimes when I write a song, I'll just start on like ideas or concepts, right? Yeah. And then I'll work on the music of it. So those are like 3 or 4 chords that I knew at the time was it, And so I was thinking about how do you tell a story, right? So I would consider myself to be more of like a folk singer type, where I'm a storyteller,
right?
Within songs, I love that kind of stuff. And so I just started thinking about the progression of life, like where I started, early childhood, right, and then where I was going. And so with some keywords was like, speech, impediment, and the kids at school making fun, and the fact that my mom and dad love me, some things that we talked about so far. Yeah. And so it literally just came about as a song that was an ode to where I came from and where I was going. And then in a bigger picture of it was like, man, it could be relatable, hopefully, to anybody that's overcome some kind of disability or setback or issue in their life. And hopefully that's been the case with that song over the years.
Well, it's touched me. I mean, I remember the first time I saw it. I think you were at I'd brought my girlfriend at the time, Stacy, and we went and checked you out. And I think there was a blues band in front of you and a blues band behind you. Yeah. And but I mean, you played it, and it knocked me off because I'd never heard it before. It knocked me off my feet.
Thank you.
I was like, wow. And look, so the thing is that it's just like you said, you get what you got. You got the cards, these are the cards you're dealt.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to be pissing and moaning about the cards we were dealt, or are we going to play them?
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
I mean, you got a choice.
It's 5-card stud, baby.
God damn it. I got these terrible cards and I don't know what to do. That's it. And yeah, exact. It's like, hey, I got the cards I got, man. I'm going to play them.
Yeah.
So I love that. And it's inspiring because like I said, man, there's so many people on the planet right now that have these challenges in life, and they really do feel like I don't know what to do with it. Well, guess what? This is a template for what to do with it.
Yeah. And I think that from a philanthropic standpoint, which is really what I want my legacy to be, is that my parents, they were young, man. My parents were 18 when I was born. Wow. I was a mistake. Not really.
I think your parents would disagree with you.
No, they love me. But I also know they got some support from a nonprofit in the Fort Worth area where I was born. And so from the beginning, I was kind of like a product of somebody else being generous with their time and money to be able to afford those operations, because they weren't cheap, man. Yeah. And my parents, they had nothing, So I think the seed was planted, and as I reflected on that and that help that we received as a family and me personally from those kind of donations, it was a no-brainer. Like, I've got to give back. It's my duty and my responsibility do something bigger. So
yeah, take that on as a human being, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. And I want the Edge the Edge Nation, those listeners who are viewing us right now, to really take that to heart. I mean, what are you going to do with the legacy that you've been given? We have an opportunity. It's kind of like your Spider-Man, man. With great power comes great responsibility. Well, guess what? We're Americans. We have great power, and we have great responsibility. So let's just give it back.
Yeah.
So
you look at the formula. The equation is, let's find something we're really passionate about from a career standpoint, and figure out how to build a business or be the best we can be in our job, whatever we can do to really exemplify excellence in that field, that business, right? Yeah. And then the byproduct of that is success, right?
Yeah.
In theory, or hopefully.
Well, yeah, a whole bunch of the road, if you will, paved with failures until there is success.
We're gonna get our ass kicked along the road.
You're supposed to.
It. And that's one of the beauties of life, man, is failing, failing forward, as we say, because we have to fail to succeed.
It's a byproduct. The success is the byproduct of multiple failures.
Yeah. So do you stay down or you get back up?
You get back up.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah.
And so the responsibility is, with that success over time, then we're able to really make an indelible difference on people that maybe haven't chosen their circumstance, man. I mean, there's a difference between giving to somebody who's chosen to not excel versus giving to somebody who wants to excel and their circumstances, at least at the moment, aren't allowing that. Because really what it is it's in theory, it's like somebody who donated to my surgeries when it was just a downtime in our life.
Yeah.
But we made the most of it after.
Oh, yeah.
So the idea of giving is just to support somebody in a certain moment of time.
Would you call that like mentoring and not necessarily just mentoring, but that kind of support can come in financial, in personal experience, like sharing with somebody how you can overcome something like this.
100%.
So mentoring could take many different forms, and one of them could be financial, and another one could be, like I said, just giving somebody a leg up, or maybe a new view of something.
Yeah.
Oftentimes I think what it is that we get stuck in the circumstances that are occurring right here, right now, and we're so blinded by just, this is such a big problem, or whatever that is, right? Whatever we call that. But then we could have somebody that comes along that's like, I've been through that. I know exactly how to get through this. And that's where we can be not only, mentors, but we can also benefit humanity, because hopefully that person's going to say, oh man, I learned that from this person. Now I can move forward and share it with someone else.
Well, that's way more valuable than writing a check.
Yeah.
Because then you're teaching someone how to fish.
Exactly.
And I put a higher priority on those kind of mentorships, those kind of brain trust masterminds. I'm very fortunate in my position to be able to be around some very successful people. And I'm always looking for those opportunities to pick their brain and ask questions from them. What made you make this decision? How did you get here? What were your biggest struggles? Who were the people that most influenced you? And so I think that it is, when we have the ability to do that and to mentor someone or to offer advice, when it's solicited, typically is way more valuable than saying, hey, here's $10, right?
Yeah. Well, it's the most valuable, I think, commodity is our own personal experiences that have taken us from, a low level to a higher level. And every time we can express that and communicate it and have somebody else benefit from it, that right there is the mentorship that I think makes the difference in the world. Yeah. And you do that. I mean, you really do. In
real estate especially, I love the opportunity to be able to coach or teach, within the ranks of maybe newer agents that come into the industry, because it's not about what we've done always that has succeeded. It's a lot of times what we've done that failed at.
Yeah, these are the potholes to avoid.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Do not do this, or this is. I would suggest that you look at this.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the beauties, man, of having a role and a position, especially within our Keller Williams, and so we're Real Estate RockStars under the umbrella of Keller Williams Realty.
Okay, great.
Which is the largest real estate company in the world.
Yeah,
130.
You get a lot of autonomy with that too, being who you want to be. I mean, you definitely got to follow their programs and everything.
Well, their systems and their models, and more importantly, the culture. So it is a culture of giving and sharing. You see a lot of real estate companies that tightly hold their secrets of how they've been successful, and we don't believe in that. What we believe in is let's all share, because there's plenty of business.
Right.
There's plenty to go around. So that's the difference between having a scarcity mindset and an abundance mindset.
Yeah.
So when we come from an abundance mindset, we understand that sharing is only going to help us in the long run, and that's not the motivation to share by any means, yet it's a reality.
Yeah.
So when we come from an abundance mindset where we want to share our secrets and our failures with those people who want to hear and want to implement, then that's one of the beauties, man, again, of a legacy of leaving something of value with many, many more people. And, you know, through trial and error, a lot of us have gotten to a point where we've got a pretty healthy business and things are going pretty well. And our ability to share that with other people who are just getting in or just kind of newer to the industry is a huge blessing, man. I mean, why would you not?
Absolutely. Yeah. Look, let me just right quick. Okay. I want to make sure that I get your email address. So what's your email address?
Yeah. azrealestaterockstars@gmail.com.
Okay. Real estate. And I'm putting it right down underneath. And then the next thing I want to know is, can you give out your phone number?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do that.
My personal cell number, 480-203-4619.
All right. We got it.
Call me, text me anytime. I'm happy to talk. I love people.
And he's a fantastic just friend to be around. And so I wanted to take just a moment because I know that success leaves clues. And I think this segment right here that we're going to talk about is a little bit about failure, but a lot more about what are some of the routines that you have in place in your life right now. Because most people do. You talk to Richard Branson or Tony Robbins or any of this, and they all have a very specific set of things I do on a daily basis. What's your daily routine look like from the moment you get up until you're ready to rock in your day?
Another great question. You know, last year, I feel so far behind that I just read The Miracle Morning last year. I made a commitment about a year and a half ago that I was going to read way more because I wasn't a big reader, and I'm ashamed to say it, yet that was the reality. And I just decided like I'm going to read. So last year I did 25 books. I'll do 36 this year. I'm on three a month. And then part of that's audio, some reading, combination. So for me, it's the biggest quest I'm on right now is to make better habits because I feel like habits are the things that really lead to long-term success.
Absolutely.
So to answer your question, essentially what happens is I will in the morning get up and we'll usually have a little bit of meditation time or just quiet, not necessarily meditation, but like quiet time.
Yeah.
Nothing's on, nobody's around. I just one-on-one with thoughts, right?
Yeah.
It's usually about what's the bigger picture for that day. What can I do that day to make a difference, right? I work out pretty regularly. So at least 3 to 4 days a week, I'll go to the gym. I'll get a good workout in, do some cardio, follow up with some coffee. And then I do a 5-5-5 on social media, which I learned from Lisa Archer and Keller Williams. And that is every day I'll do 5 happy birthdays. I'll comment on 5 posts, and I'll have at least 5 likes of people because I want to stay involved with people. And if I don't get to see them face to face, then of course social media is the next best thing.
Sure, yeah.
Yet without engagement, we're not involved in their life without engagement on social media,
right,
in some way. So that's part of the routine as well. My goal every day is to make 20 contacts with either people in my sphere, current clients, past clients. So when we say contact, that's going to be either a face-to-face meeting, maybe a lunch appointment. It could be outdoor knocking, letting people know about a home we just sold in their neighborhood and find out who else might be wanting to make a move. It could be phone calls. It could be text messages. But a minimum of 20 people a day is my goal.
Awesome.
To reach out to. And then I also, I want to positively impact 5 people a day. It's on my goal sheet. It's something I strive for every day. That could be a compliment. It could be a recognition of something that someone has done well. And I usually do that in front of other people. And I also am going to read or listen to audio for at least 20 to 30 minutes a day. So that could be on the way to work in the car. It could be at night. Typically, I'll read hard books in the evening before I go to bed. And then during the day, I will listen to CDs or like an Audible account.
I love Audible.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too.
Oh my God, it's my favorite thing.
Because I'm going to go a lot. I travel the valley, and you know, I'm out looking at homes and previewing, going to listing appointments and things like that. And so I don't ever want downtime. Like, how can I maximize my learning in the time I have during the day? Because I don't want to work 60 hours a week, 80 hours a week. I've done it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But how can I really utilize the amount of time that we have? That's an age-old question, right? How come we all have the same amount of time in the day, yet some people are billionaires and some people are struggling to make rent?
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of that is from how we spend our time and how, it's easy to get sidetracked. Multitasking is a myth, first of all. I used to think that, I can do this.
Preach on, brother. What is multitasking? What is multitasking really?
Yeah, it means that you're doing a bunch of stuff worse.
Yeah.
Is what it means, right?
Yeah. You literally, let me put this on my face because I rant about this all the time.
Tell me more.
You are literally taking your attention from one thing to the next. There's no way to separate that attention because you can't spread out your attention and do 5 things at once. It's not possible, but you can. And it's like you said, you're minimizing your effectiveness when you're multitasking, but you maximize. And I've told bosses this, it's going to take me 90 minutes from now until you can talk to me again. Because if you mix that up, it's going to be 12 minutes before you just ask me a question, and it'll be 12 minutes before I can actually get back into the groove of what I was doing. So fucking stop it. Let me have my 90 minutes. That's all I ask. If I get started on a thing, and I almost want to put a little ticker timer up there, that says you're 12 minutes away from talking to Michael.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm telling you, that is the fastest way to get things done. If you'll take 90-minute blocks, 10 minutes off, 90-minute block. Right? You can accomplish so much in 4 hours. It's unbelievable.
It is. And I think that we also have to stay on target. So I'm a list guy typically, right?
Yeah.
But one of the adjustments that I made was instead of having a list of, 18 things I need to do today, and then I used to do the easiest stuff first, right? Because it's simple, I'll get it out of the way and then cross it off. And I felt successful, like I was getting stuff done.
Sure.
And then at the end of the day, I'd be like, well, damn, dude, the best the 3 most important things I didn't do.
Yeah.
So then when I read a book called The One Thing by Gary Keller, the founder of Keller Williams, and loved the book. He in the book, he talked about, multitasking is a myth. He talked about several myths, right, that we commonly believe that just aren't true. And he talks in that book about what he calls a success list. So if there are 3 things that you have to get done that day, that if by doing those 3 things, nothing else matters, right?
Yeah.
Or one thing, the title of the book.
One thing, yeah.
Right? But the success list he talks about is, okay, just forget all the other ancillary stuff, because probably somebody on our staff, somebody in our administration part of our business can probably handle a lot of that. Mm-hmm. And they do a much better job of it than me anyway.
Right.
And so what I started doing was making just shorter lists. And those lists were just the things that were most important for that day. I know that I've got to talk to these people. I know I need to negotiate this contract. I need to go on this listing appointment. I need to have a buyer consultation over the phone with a new client that's referred by, a past client, whatever the case may be for that day.
Right.
Because those are like dollar productive activities, and that's our sweet spot, right? So can we figure out a way every day to stay in our sweet spot of what we're best at?
Yeah.
And so by building an organization like we have at Real Estate RockStars, everyone has their part of expertise. And so, Carol on our team, who's a total rock star, our operations manager, she is so detail oriented and follow up, and she handles our database management and all our transactions and paperwork, and she's just really, really good at it.
Right. Genius level.
I'm not.
Sure.
Right? So it makes more sense to pay her and bonus her on the things that she's best at. And then, on the sales side of things, we stay within our power zone, you would call it, essentially, of what we do. So the success list has helped out with that. And so that's part of the daily, my daily routine that has adjusted over the years as well. I love giving hugs. So
Are you a hugger?
I'm hugging. There's something about that embrace,
Yeah.
And strangers dig it too. I can tell you.
3 seconds in, man, and you released oxytocin. It's true.
Yeah.
3 seconds into a hug, and you just released some oxytocin, and that's feel good stuff.
How long is too long?
10 seconds, I think, is you're probably about to have a moment. 10 seconds is definitely too long. I'm going to say between 3 and 7 seconds.
Okay, all right.
And if it's a bro hug, right, then it's got to be maybe 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, keep it short and sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, roll it out.
Bro it out. Boom. Okay. Bump it. Pull them in. Bump it out.
Play some Kenny Chesney.
Off you go. Stop. Oh my God. There's no romance.
Oh man.
I love it, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, that's just kind of an example of some things that I want to do on a daily basis.
It's really great.
I've got a long way to go, man. I mean, certainly I've got issues, and my life is better than most.
Yeah.
And I recognize that every day. And, I mean, I still have my own struggles, I mean,
course.
I think that
What's one of the biggest struggles that you have?
I tend to get so focused in business that I sometimes am like very narrow-minded of the path. Like I'm a visionary of where our company is going. And I don't do a very good job at times of communicating in a way that's received well by other people I'm closest to. This is the best way to put that. In other words, I'm a dick sometimes. I mean, and I hate that because I'm not, right? This is who I am.
Yeah.
Yet I think in the business standpoint and sometimes in personal life too, in my relationship where I'm just, I think that I have so much trust in those people and it's such a closer relationship than I have with most that they see the sides of me that I'm not as proud of. So as an example, I might be just so frustrated in a certain environment because I've got this idea of where we're going and it's not, the rest of the team's not buying into it, for example.
Right.
And then so they're like, well, you're just going to do what you want to do anyway. I'm like, wow, that kind of hurts because you're right. I like because it's what I see. So I think that what I'm really working on now is that I'm learning to kind of back off and ask them better questions and get more input because I'm not always right.
Yeah.
And when I get so narrow-minded on the path that I want us to take, I don't do a good job all the time of taking their feelings into consideration and communicating in a way that's received well. In other words, I communicate directly. And that's not their personality type a lot of times, right? They're more
they don't
like
receive it that way.
They don't. And it's certainly not intentional.
I can relate.
I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk about it.
Let's just say sorry to everybody.
I'm so sorry if I've offended you.
I'm so sorry. I do it all the time.
Seriously.
And I'm going to try and stop eventually.
But like, why is it that sometimes we treat the people closest to us the worst?
It's weird.
I mean, that probably is my biggest challenge.
I think that's one of those things that I've been working on probably for a long time and still haven't mastered it all. But I mean, I used to be the guy. This has happened. Remember I said my wife, she divorced me, to her credit. So I was the guy that would take his family out to Denny's, for instance. We were Denny's eaters, but we would go to Denny's, and I was the asshole that was treating the waitress better than I was treating my own family at the table. And I recognize that, like, after the fact. And now when I see it happen, it irks me. It actually hurts, physically and emotionally hurts, because I can see the family being not seen, not heard, not honored, not respected. And then, here's this young girl or guy or whatever who's running around doing this. And the family does so much more. And yet the father or whoever is doing this to the family it's just crushing. So this is a pretty intense moment right now. I acknowledge that, but that was one of my failures in life. And how I was able to get away from that was to actually become aware of it. And then I audited my life. Where else do I do that? And when I got clear on that I do that in a lot of places, that's when it was like a blind spot. It almost disappeared overnight. Just being aware of it.
Yeah. It's a powerful moment when we go from thinking it's everyone else's fault to recognizing that we're the one that's messed up.
Yeah.
In those scenarios. And we may have a great life other than that. But for you, was there a synapse or was there a defining moment where you recognized what you were doing?
It was an automatic, yes. It happened in a course that I took through Landmark called the Landmark Forum. And in that course, I actually saw myself for the way that I was, because I had it that I had to be right. And that was, for me, important, to be right about things, to be right. And so that showed up in a lot of different ways where I would argue my point and I would end friendships over it because I had to be right. I don't know if anybody else is out there is like that, but that moment when that happened in that course, I broke down. I started to cry because I could see it's like turning around and looking back behind you and literally seeing the devastation of all the people you hurt and waking up and being like, wow, I'm responsible for that. Like I did that. And it changed me.
Man, this is the edge therapy session. Because I can relate. I can totally relate to that, And it's like, man, I know it's not right. And I think that I can really relate to what you're saying in a lot of ways of like, no, here's my point and I'm correct. Like I feel the same way.
Yeah.
And at times I truly believe that. And I think that I belittle the ideas of other people sometimes, mostly just in business. This is the only time it ever rises up. And in my relationship at times too, where I'm just like, I can relate to what you're saying.
I got it, yeah.
And I'm waking up to that, beautiful girlfriend Dina of 2 years, and nobody has loved me more than her from a relationship standpoint ever. And what irks her the most is like whenever I get in those modes, right? Yeah. And so she takes a stand. She's like, look, you aren't right, and you don't have to be right, but you think you do. Yeah. So it's interesting that you bring it up because it's exactly one of the challenges that I face, which is my behavior at times with those that are closest to me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to look back and think, oh my God, I just ruined those people that love me the most. Like, why would I do that?
Just to be right.
Just to be right. Yeah.
So
it's ridiculous.
So what I took on was that I don't always have to be right, even when I am right. I just took that on. And now I still do it, man. Listen, it's kind of like that muscle that you've been working out for a long time and you've done it over years and years and years and never really noticed it, and it's automatic. It's almost like that brain pattern, right? It's corrected. And so I liken it unto having a record that you play. When you put the needle down, the record just plays. What you need to do is scratch up the record so it doesn't play that song that way anymore. And how you do that is through experiential, right? And you'll see yourself doing it, right? In your mind's eye. This is one way you can do it. See yourself doing it, and then that mind's eye, and then scratch the record up, change it. So in your mind, you can actually have a new response to whatever that was. And here was my new response. Oh, wow. That's an interesting view. I don't have to be right because I love you more than I love being right.
It's powerful, man.
And you can give it up. And by the way, I still sometimes have to be right. And I have to, it's something you will manage for life. But you're amazing.
You are. It was insightful. Thank you.
Yeah.
That helps out more than you know, because it is a current struggle that I'm going through where, I'm in a thought process of, do I have the right people around? It's always this challenge too of I want to top what I would call like top grade the people that we spend time with, right?
Yes,
so,
yes.
You've heard the adage that we are the equal of the 5 people we're closest to.
That's true.
And so through life, we find ourselves, making adjustments of who we choose to spend time with in the limited amount that we have. And so I think at a point where my mind is skewed about my perspective, and then it makes me wonder, well, am I in the right, do I have the right people on the bus? Am I in the right environment, Yeah. And I feel like that I do, yet I question it at times. And I don't think it has to do with them. I think you're exactly right.
Yeah.
I think it has to do with, I have this overwhelming desire to think, I know where we're going, and I'm gonna guide this ship, and this is the way we're gonna do it. And maybe that's not the view that's shared by the people who are on the ship and are, really keeping it afloat.
Yeah.
Well,
and there's another piece to it, because I realized that when I was always having to be right, and this just popped up for me as you just said this, but when I always had to be right, I was protecting something. And it was interesting to find out what I was protecting, right? I was protecting not looking bad. I just didn't want to look bad, right? So being right would mean, hey, I'm right, and I don't look bad because I'm not stupid. This is like I'm protecting not looking stupid. And there's a lot of this, what am I protecting now in my vocabulary? Because I have to ask myself, well, why am I reacting like that? What am I protecting? Really? And then I get clear. Oh, I'm protecting not looking bad. I just want to look good. Well, fuck, I can look good and be generous and be clear and say, I disagree with you, but I appreciate your view, and man, I love you. You're one of those people in my life.
I love that.
You know, I don't have to be right here. And actually that's a grace that was given to me by some pretty remarkable people when they just actually said to me, you know, I don't agree with you, but I love you. You're my friend. So I don't have to be right.
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
Yeah. It's acknowledging somebody else's point of view, their perspective, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that like we have these friendships and you know, acquaintances that are superficial in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah.
So you're never going to get as deep with those people as you would with those who are closest to us.
Right.
And I think the conflict only arises most of the time whenever you're in those heated times. Right now I'm reading Fierce Conversations, and I'm reading a lot of books, Maxwell, you know, about leadership. Big quest of mine is just to become a better leader. So, you know, Fierce Conversations, just about to wrap up with, is an interesting way of looking at the perspectives of those around us and asking questions that really get to the root of where they are coming from, how they feel about things, and like you mentioned, looking at not from no attachment to the outcome, essentially, right? Like we don't have to be right. We just want to, more importantly, hear what they have to say, and then maybe offer insight that they can choose or choose not to look at.
Yeah.
You know? So we read that. It's interesting you brought the point of the two things most people want is to be right and to look good.
Yeah.
You know, so I love that you bring it up. Like, well, dude, I don't have to look good and I don't have to be right.
Yeah.
Those are profound statements from you that really hit home to me, especially right now at this point in life, because it is a big challenge. So I know that I'm going to leave here today with a different viewpoint than the way I walked in.
Wow.
So thank you for that.
Wow. Thank you. Well, thank you for the opportunity to contribute. I really appreciate
big,
that.
Man. Really
So before we wrap up,
yeah,
right? Where are you going from now? Where are you going from here? So like, there's a future that is just you're pregnant with, right? You're going to give birth to it, and it's about to happen. What does that future look like?
So we're building, here's what's going to happen. We are building our business, Real Estate RockStars, and we want to get that business to a production level of at least $50 million a year.
Awesome.
What that means is that we're adding in the missing pieces of that puzzle from a sales and an administration standpoint. The goal is to be at $50 million within the next 5 years.
Awesome.
What that will allow me to do is to step away from the day-to-day operations of the business, as far as going out and showing homes and going to listing appointments, things like that.
Right.
So we'll have the pieces in place at that point at a production level that will free up time. And then the goal is to set up an international foundation. So right now, most of my efforts nonprofit-wise are going toward establish and startup charities locally. So the idea is to start locally and then go statewide and then go nationally and then internationally from a charitable foundation or standpoint.
Wow, that's beautiful.
So within 5 years, the goal is to hopefully have a family. I mean, if I can pull myself out of the rut with Dina, it would be really awesome because I do want to have a family, and I'm 42 now. I've never been married, don't have any children yet it's still a goal. So within 5 years, I hope to have a family, hope to be out of the day-to-day operations of Real Estate RockStars as far as I'll still be involved, of course, but not to the extent I am now.
More as a visionary, I think.
Right. What Maxwell would call like a level 4 to a level 5 leader.
Yeah.
Right now I'm about 3, based on his projections or what he says
defines and distinguishes as leadership. Yeah.
And so I want to have an international foundation. So what that looks like is spending at least 30 to 60 days a year internationally on missions, essentially, of bringing a better life to people internationally. So the idea is to start locally, which we're doing now, go statewide, which is starting to happen with a care fund. I'll be in Tucson in a couple weeks, and we're launching there as well. We've already helped several families in Tucson.
Tell us about the Care Fund.
So the Care Fund is the foundation where we pay the rent and the mortgage for the families, right?
Yep.
So that's primarily in the Phoenix area, although we've started to branch out to help some families in Tucson. So we're going down to meet with the mayor. They're doing a breakfast on the March 9th, I believe it is. And so I'll be down in Tucson to kind of help because I'm on the board of directors there. So part of my job within that organization is to help promote and, like we talked about, expanding the idea.
Yeah. By the way, if the Edge Nation needs to get a hold of you in any way to assist down there, maybe they want to get involved physically and go and help, or they can donate right? They can go through you, or they can go to the carefund.org.
Yes.
Right? And or if they want to get in touch with you, again, your phone number?
Yeah, 480-203-4619. We're doing actually a big fundraiser coming up. We're in the middle of it now, where we're giving away a car.
What?
It's awesome. Yeah, seriously. So we have these raffle tickets. So every year we do it. It's called Agents Benefiting Children. It's a real estate industry that comes together. The Scottsdale 2030 Club.
Oh, yes.
Great organization of guys. They're so good. They do night flight every year, and then now they do what Brokers for Kids and Agents Benefiting Children. Essentially what that is it's a fundraising competition. So we have a team, the Real Estate RockStar team.
Right.
There are 8 of us on the team, and we are competing against 23 other teams within the real estate industry, essentially.
Wow.
In a fundraising effort. So we fundraise in a few different ways, one of which is that we are selling raffle tickets to win a new Toyota. Our friends over at Valley Toyota dealerships.
Are we getting a Prius?
You can, yeah.
You get a Prius?
You can choose. You can choose, yeah.
That's awesome.
Prius, Tacoma, or Camry.
Tacoma.
And or if you
the
want,
Camry's nice too.
you can take a $15,000 buyout too. If you want.
Oh, you're kidding me.
15 cash.
Wow.
So tickets are $25. You can get 5 for $100, and that goes through April the 8th.
Okay.
So we've got depending on when this airs, at least 30 days probably to do that. And so those are available through myself or through the CareFund website. There's also sponsorship opportunities as well for any companies who want to get in front of about 500 to 600 real estate professionals on the day. So what's cool about it is it ends at Scottsdale Stadium. The final day is April the 8th, and we will be competing. All the teams come together to compete. It's called the Olympiad. So we go head to head, baby. We throw bags. There's a football toss challenge, free throws, bocce ball, giant Jenga. So literally it's a full day. And then they crown the champion of the fundraisers, right? And then the top 2 teams of the competition that day play head-to-head in dodgeball.
Oh my God!
Winner takes the trophy.
Dodgeball. Yeah. Oh man!
Dodge a wrench.
I'll be the guy over here like taking bets, side bets.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. All for the kids, man.
It's for the kids. Yeah, we give all the money away.
It's true. So that's pretty cool. I mean, and look, fundraising is fun. That's what they call it,
fundraising.
Yeah, and that's what we do, man. So that's the current thing we're working on with the Care Fund is we've got several events coming up. The poker tournament we talked about is actually the next one in March. That's going to be up at Greyhawk, and we've got some celebrities that are coming, some former baseball and football players for that, and some World Series of Poker players as well. They're going to be there. So
that's a big deal, man.
Super cool, man. Super good. And
so get involved,
yeah. So it's all on the carefund.org as well. Tammy Dykstra Foundation. We're always looking for volunteers, people who want to make meals, want to deliver meals. People who just want to get involved with charity, donating prizes for raffles we do at events throughout the year, things like that.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, that's fantastic, dude. I'm so excited, and I'm glad that you were on the podcast today because we talked about just for briefly, and we had lost touch with each other for a little while. And so, man, it's great to have you back in studio and to be able to hang out with you. And I'm looking forward to getting involved in a lot of the different fundraisers that you have going on as Mike G from the Edge podcast. So I'll bring my banners and whatever, and we can just get in there.
I would love it.
Yeah.
So I had this idea. I'd love to do these impromptu songs, right, where I can just make them up as we go. Would that be okay?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's finish off the podcast that way. Yeah, cool. All right. So this is Ty Lusk from azrealestaterockstars.com, and he's gonna finish out the podcast with an impromptu song.
It's the Edge Podcast with Mike G. Filling knowledge with your morning coffee. We're in the studio, talking together. He'll fill you full of knowledge. He's the man. He likes it, working out, girls with tattoos, interesting subcultures. That's you too, oh Mike G. I love you, man.
Love you too, man.
He asks good questions. He's a great interviewer. He gets your story every day. Oh, my G. I love you, man. On the Edge Podcast, doing his thing. Oh, my G. I love you, man.
I love you too, man. I appreciate you. Well, this is Mike G for the Edge podcast. And again, thank you so much for being on the podcast with me today, Ty.
My pleasure, man. Thank you so much for having me. And we go back a long way, man.
We
And
do.
it's been an honor to be here with you. I really appreciate the chance.
Absolutely, man. I love you, and I thank you for it. And say goodbye to everybody in the Edge Nation.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, man. Really appreciate it. The Edge podcast. Keep going, baby.
This is Mike G for the Edge podcast. We're out.
Decoding visionaries and subcultures. The Edge Podcast with Mike G is brought to you by the following sponsors. Thank you for your support.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort.
Cause I'm the type of nigga that's built to last. If you fuck with me, I put my foot in your ass. See, I don't give a fuck cause I keep belling. Yo, what the fuck are they yelling?
Don't push me cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my